In today's video, we will be deploying a meme coin on a forked version of the WoW protocol on Base. Our steps for execution: we will use Forge and Foundry to initialize a new project. We will set up GitHub with the GitHub action to automatically run our unit tests. We'll then clone the WoW factory using its verified contract on BaseScan, as well as a deploy script which I've already written in previous code bases. We'll add in the ASCII art for this specific project. We'll add in any missing imports to fix build errors if they arise, which they will. Then we'll deploy the WoW factory onto Sepolia. And finally, there's an app we built yesterday to use the official deployments of WoW protocol to deploy and buy a meme coin. We will update that app to use our forked version of the WoW protocol to deploy and to buy a meme coin on that forked stack. If you would like to fork the underlying WoW protocol because you want to change the fees or you have custom mechanisms you want to build in, this video is for you. Or if you just want to have a greater understanding of how WoW protocol functions, this video is also for you. Let's get building. Step 1. If you aren't already familiar, this is what WoW, the official protocol, looks like. We are going to be forking not the UI, not the API, but the protocol, the base fundamental level where fees are decided, where people create new coins, where all of the base kind of business logic lives. That's what we're going to be forking. We're going to start with Forge and init. Open up a terminal. I'm going to run Forge and init. It should then ask me for a project name, and okay. Let's, I guess, mkdir, just call this WoW fork for now. Or just WoW. I'll just call it WoW because there's not even an official WoW. So this is going to be the first GitHub, public GitHub repo showing the WoW contracts. So let's cd into WoW. And now from inside of WoW, we will forge init. Okay, so it looks like it creates it inside of the existing project, which I was not aware of. We've run Forge init. Now let's set up GitHub and let's get this code pushed off of my local machine. We will create a new repository. Just name it WoW. Forked protocol. WoW forked protocol. Make it public. Create the repo. Copy the Git link. Actually, don't know what that term is called. We'll open up Cursor, which is our IDE. It's got AI built in. We don't need this terminal anymore. Open up Cursor. From here, inside of this terminal, which you can access by toggling the terminal panel, git status should tell us there's nothing to commit. If we run git remote -v, should tell us that there's no branches. There's no remote branches. There's no remotes. Git remote add origin, paste in that, git remote -v. We now have an origin, so we can git push origin main. And that is going to take our code that we just created locally, this empty Foundry repo, and then it will push it up to prod. And so now we have a repo in our WoW code base, so anybody can see it. Next steps, I want to add in a Forge test script, so let's now swap over to using the UI, which might be easier for some people watching. We want to get rid of this. Close other repository. What am I in? Actually, don't know if I just made the right call. Gonna go back to terminal because I feel like I might have made a wrong move. Git status, git checkout -b suites actions. This is going to be for the GitHub action, git push origin suites actions. We have started a new repo with Foundry. We've initialized our GitHub, and now we are adding our first GitHub action. We have a branch. we can create a new pull request from that branch. There's actually nothing to compare, but it looks like some action just ran. What is this action? Is it already verifying that Forge install, Forge format? Okay, so it's already running Forge tests. So it looks like we're already good to go. So we already have an action that is running our Forge tests. Next step, let's add the wow factory locally. Taking a quick look into how our project is set up, we have one smart contract. It's a default counter. It sets a number. It increments a number. We're going to get rid of this. We have one script. It is something to deploy the counter. We're also going to delete this. So everything in here we're going to get rid of. What we want is the wow factory. How I got this, just to show everybody how I got to this contract, is I went on to wow. I clicked the most recent token that I could find. That way I'm getting the latest version of the protocol. Click on BaseScan. It opens up BaseScan. I then click on the transaction that this meme coin was created on, and that's going to give me the contract that this meme coin was created on. From here, I can go into the contract tab, write as proxy or read as proxy, and then you get the implementation address. We need the implementation address, and we also need the factory. So the factory, this is the same page, just one I got here with you. The other one I had already opened before the video. And then this is the implementation, which you get by going from the factory into the reader write as proxy, and then clicking on the address to open up the implementation. I'm going to use the code. In the code, we only need one file, and it's this wow factory. You're going to say, hey, sweets, but there's 7 files. What about those other 7? Great question. All the other 7 come from this one import. So we just need that import, and then the rest of them will come in. This is the only part of the factory. The factory itself, this is the proxy for the factory, and this is all it is. So we'll copy this. Wow factory, make a new file of wow factory.sol. Now we should be able to paste in our wow factory. It's going to complain that we don't have this package. So let's go ahead and ask it to debug. Can you help us use @foundry to install the OpenZeppelin libs? And let me try to get those libs. OpenZeppelin GitHub. I'm getting tired of this ChatGPT search. It's slower and less accurate than what I need on Google. OpenZeppelin contracts GitHub. We go to the GitHub. They are using just OpenZeppelin contracts. Is this, I think it's just the contracts in that case, not upgradable. So we'll take this. Run it. Analyzes the web page. Forge install OpenZeppelin contracts. We'll run that command in our terminal. It's going to tell us we can't do it without committing, so we'll --no-commit so that we skip that. It's a very annoying error from Foundry, but it always occurs. Installing our packages, and then we need a remappings.txt, new file, remappings.txt. And inside of this, we can then copy and paste. This is going to allow us to use this custom import naming. We can make this name on the left whatever we want, and that will automatically map to lib OpenZeppelin contracts, which is lib OpenZeppelin contracts. And so instead of having to type this long name, we can type this shortcut, and that shortcut matches over here, because if we go OpenZeppelin contracts, inside of here we should have a proxy folder, which we do. Then we should have 1967, and then we should have this file. And so yeah, this proxy matches up directly. Let's try Forge build now to see if the build passes with our new imports. I should have done it before installing the package, so we're red-green refactoring, but I did not. Looks successful. Let's check out a new branch, git checkout, because we didn't even need that action branch. It was automatic with Forge init. Git checkout -b suites /factory. Git status. Yeah, this is a lot. I don't want to deal with that. Git status, git add dot. Part of me thinks we should be git ignoring the lib folder. I'm gonna do one run ignoring it to see if that is possible. Lib git status. No, we can't. So let's get rid of lib git status, git add dot, because we want all these files to be added. Git commit -m I add the wow factory contracts with required libs from OpenZeppelin. Git push origin suites factory. We should now have a pull request waiting for us. If we go back to our wow repo and we compare into main, it looks like our build has failed, but now it's running again on pull request. Let's check out what failed. Forge format failed. Forge FMT, git status, git add src, git commit -m I fix formatting errors, git push origin suites factory. What I usually do is I add in some sort of pre-commit hook. I can't remember how I set it up. That way, each time I want to commit inside of a Forge repo, it'll automatically run this, because this will slow me down a few times. This will probably not be the first time that we see a build failed, because I didn't run Forge format. But now that we run Forge format, it should build and the test should pass. Forge build, Forge test, everything passed. We got green. Let's go back to our pull request, review the change real quick. I think we missed our ASCII art, so we'll get the ASCII art in there to replace WoW's ASCII art. We've installed the OpenZeppelin contracts library. We've added in the remapping, and then yeah, we've got the WoW ASCII art. The ASCII art we need is from kooprex, so I'm going to copy the kooprex ASCII art. Go back to wow factory, and inside of wow factory I can paste the ASCII art. We'll need to do the same thing and run Forge format, git status, git add src wow factory, git commit -m I add ASCII art, git push origin suites factory. Now that we've got our ASCII art in there, let's verify where we're at. We don't need this tab anymore. We've also finished with our Forge init, so we don't need the Foundry book. Build's running. Let's verify our code. We've got the ASCII art. It does not look complete here in GitHub, so we'll trust that it looks good like it does locally. Viewed. Let's verify locally that even after Forge format it still looks good. Close the tab. Reopen it. I think I'd also like to get rid of the counter. We'll keep it for a little while longer until we write our first test. Did our build pass? Our build passed. We can now merge the pull request. Merge it. We now have our wow factory with our ASCII art. The next step is to get our deploy script. So I'm going to use a deploy script I already wrote for kooprex in the past when we were building on Zora. This should work the same because this is also using a proxy with an implementation. So I'm going to copy this raw file, and I'm going to make a new script called, what do we call this one? Deploy wow factory .s.sol. Paste everything that's in here. We'll change this to say deploy wow factory is script. We've got this run. the goal is to now run this command. Do I have anything in the README that says how we run this? Deploy. Okay, so we've got this usage. I'm going to copy this README, and we're going to use this README also as the starting README. Wow Factory is a factory contract for creating wow contracts. Key features, yeah, let's get rid of key features for now. Let's focus on how it works. Let's also delete this. Key components and royalties, let's delete. Usage, I think, is what we want. Deploy, mint, important functions. Get rid of, well, deploy, buy, sell. Get rid of these for now. Detailed information, refer to that. Security considerations, contract structure, wow factory and wow maybe. Let's keep this as is. This looks relatively short. Here we want to use deploy wow factory.sol deploy wow factory, but this should be the same. So now our goal is to run this command. How can I think I can echo these variables, that way I don't need to share them with y'all here. We'll see if I can do that. I'm going to cut the video here, and I'm going to try to export these by running export const RPC URL. Let's do an example together, and then I'll leave you guys to do the rest. Base network details. Base network details in a Google search to give us the network details. Find the RPC endpoint for Sepolia. RPC URL equals, is this correct? RPC underscore URL echo okay. We'll see if this works. I'm going to try to implement it this way. I'm going to put in my private key and my EtherScan API key, and I'll be back once I do. Make sure you get your EtherScan API key from BaseScan rather than from EtherScan. How can I use these variables in my command line? How can I set? It's just export. Let me make sure I come back. It looks like oh, okay, so we can also just use an env file. So I'm actually going to recommend everybody uses just an env file. Let's create a new file called .env. I'll probably update this video to just remove those other things, but go ahead and add in your private key, your RPC URL, and your EtherScan API key. We're going to be deploying on a base Sepolia, so just use the base Sepolia public RPC, and then get your other variables as needed. Okay, I've added my environment variables. What happens if I run this script? Failed to create a wallet, private key, but env-var exists. Is the anchor tag missing? Let's ask chat what that means. Okay, so it looks like we just need the $ in front of each of these, and then it should use our environment variables. Let's try that. Run the same command. A value is required for private key. When using Forge, you need to ensure are properly set. You need to set before running. You can do this in 2 ways, or in an env file. I've set this in an env file. Then source it with source.env. Okay, so I need to use Make sure you run source.env to load up your environment variables. Run it again. Now it looks like we are making progress. Okay, so now it's got our environment variables, but now we have errors. So we have our deploy script, we have our factory, we're now getting errors. Let's fix the errors. Before we do that, we'll go to the deploy script. I don't have the ASCII art in here. It was requested that we add it to all of our files. So let's add the ASCII art to our deploy script as well. Copy this. In our deploy script, it goes below our imports, above the contract. Save that. Okay, so our errors we can see here, protocol rewards, I don't think this is being used anywhere. It is being used in a contract that is not being used. So let's update these to use the contracts that we expect it to be using. Let's read through this. Plow, deploy. So we've got the strategy. What do we use to deploy the wow factory? It's got a constructor, and it takes logic and data. Can we just pass in logic? I don't know if we can just... How did I deploy Zora's factory? We needed to deploy Zora's factory for kubex. Did I create a new repository for the kubex fork? We go into repositories, wow, CRM app, client, kube records protocol. Do we have a scripts? Let's go into packages. The protocol deployments, I believe. Scripts, chain config. Now the question is, how did I deploy everything? Deploy factory will then initialize data, deploy the factory. I think this is what we want. This is the deploy script factory that we actually would like. We need a factory, and we need a creator, and we need a factory implementation. That sounds correct. Let's copy this script. Let's paste let's just paste what's inside the run, collapse our run, paste our run. And from here, we do need to deploy our factory implementation first. And instead of Zora factory, this should be wow factory. Console.log, we've got our wow factory. Instead of Zora factory, we need a wow factory implementation. I've been dancing around it, but let's dive right in. Here's the factory implementation. Again, we just need this factory implementation contract, so we'll copy this. Go into our source, wow factory implementation.sol. Paste it. It's just IMPL, the same as Zora. So if we just do IMPL, we've now got the same name. We need contracts upgradable now, which we don't have. So let's check out how we installed the OpenZeppelin package. Forge install OpenZeppelin contracts. Let's go back to the Google OpenZeppelin GitHub. Go to the GitHub. So the last time we did OpenZeppelin /OpenZeppelin -contracts, which is that repo. If we go into all their repos, they should hopefully have an upgradables right here. And so this command should be the same, just instead of OpenZeppelin contracts, we should just need to add upgradable. It's going to tell us about the no commit, so we'll just add a no commit before it complains. It's now going to clone it, and then we'll need to do the same thing of adding in our remapping. So open up, we'll close the other tabs, clean up a little bit, go into our remappings, copy this line, copy the initial path that it's expecting, and then where it is installed is OpenZeppelin contracts -upgradable, I believe. Yep. dash upgradable / contracts. This looks correct to me. This should hopefully get rid of, it did get rid of all of our errors. Now we just need the interface and wow. Those are two that are still missing, which we should be able to verify. Let's keep moving through with our deploy script. That's our current goal, is to get our deploy script out. So let's go back there before making assumptions about where it's going to fail. We have a wow factory. We need a factory implementation, which we can get from wow factory implementation and wow factory. Wow factory we can use here. In the initial owner, let's say address default owner, set it to, whoops, copy this, set it to whatever this is. I have a feeling this is the correct address, but let's set it as a variable just to be sure. So now we've got initialization data. We use that to initialize our factory with an implementation and initial data. Let's check out the implementation to see what it actually needs. In the constructor, that's not what we worry about. We worry about the initializer. Initialize. All that it's looking for is an owner, which is what we are passing in, is an owner inside of our selector for initialize, so that looks correct. So let's keep walking backwards. Our initial data looks correct. Our default owner, let's assume it's correct. We need a correct factory implementation. Let's not worry about it for now, and let's just try to launch. We compile, it doesn't have wow. Let's get wow. We're going to keep working through these build errors. Okay, in order to get the wow contract, we're looking at our implementation. Let's just Control F for wow.sol. Here it is. Let's copy the wow contract. We've got our factory, our implementation. Let's quickly update the ASCII in our implementation. Boop. Copy the wow. New file, wow.sol. Is it capital W? It is a capital W. Rename to capital W wow.sol. Paste. What are we missing? We're still missing the interface. We're missing quite a few interfaces. So we'll need to add all those in. Let's work through them one at a time by just trying to run our deploy script and getting them as they're needed. Let's get the wow factory next. Wow factory. Here it is. We'll make a new folder called interfaces. New file iwowFactory.sol. Paste in the factory. Update some ASCII art. Copy our ASCII art. Paste ASCII art. Same thing in our interface. Paste ASCII art. We're good in the wow factory. Let's run it again. Bonding curve is missing. Bonding. Bonding curve is not here. Uh-oh. src bonding curve.sol, where are you? Well, let's check out where a wow is. Let's go to our contract, read the contract. We should have an implementation. It is set to nothing. So let's go back out to the wow factory, read as proxy. Let's check out if there's an implementation on here. Implementation is set. This should be a wow contract. If it is, this is a wow factory implementation. It's not what I was hoping for. Is token implementation a wow contract? This is our wow contract. Okay, so in here we should have I bonding. Uh-oh, there's still no bond. Where can I get the bonding curve? Receiver, upgradable, reentrancy, ERC20, iWow, Uniswap, swap router, protocol rewards. Here's bonding curve, but we're looking for, oh, it's just bonding curve, goodness. I'm searching for the wrong file. If you ask the wrong question, you will get the wrong answer. Let's go back to code, bonding .sol, here it is. Silly me. New file, bonding curve.sol. Paste. ASCII art. Paste it. We're missing some Salady stuff, but we'll keep moving. iWrappedEth is missing. iWEth.sol. Copy. Interfaces. New file. iWEth.sol. Is it all caps? It's all caps. Paste. Save. No ASCII in here. Close. Close. Close everything but the script. Wow factory. Close others. This is what we're trying to run. Let's keep this in our field of vision when possible. protocol rewards. Protocol. Here it is. New file protocol rewards.sol. Paste. Save. What's next? iSwap router. iSwap router. Copy. New file iSwap router.sol. iUniswap v3 pool. iUniswap v3 pool. Copy. New file iUniswap v3 pool.sol. Paste, save, run it again. iUniswap v3 pool, v3 swap callback, v3 swap callback. New file iUniswap v3 swap callback.sol. Paste that. Do it again. We're getting closer. iNonfungible position manager. iNonfungible position manager. Let's see if I can get this name right. iNonfungible position manager.sol. Paste it, save it, run it again. iWow. I thought we already had iWow. Interfaces iWow from wow. Source not found, searched, projects koopwow. I don't have iWow, you're right. iWow. Here's iWow. New file, iWow.sol. Let's get that updated. Copy the ASCII art. Paste the, nope, that didn't do it. Wow. It's big ASCII art. Big ASCII. Run it again. Looks like Salady's the next thing that we're missing. So how can I install Salady? Let's do the same process. Let's find Salady. 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 Yeah, I think this is it. Vectorize Salady. Let's find that command that we used to install. Forge install. Paste in username / package name. Fix my copying incorrectness. Once we clone that, we go back into our remappings. Copy this into a new line. Find one of the examples, Salady / Salady / should go to lib / Salady. Lib / Salady. and then it expects an src, so I think we just stop there. lib/salady should be salady. Got it installed. Let's run our script again. Compiling. We're staying compiling longer. We are getting close. Stack too deep. Let's debug this with AI. Let's cancel, do it globally. In wow.sol. Okay, let's try adding this to our foundry.toml. Inside of foundry.toml, we want via IR. Click apply, continue. Let's accept that, save it, try it again. Compiling 63 files now. Water break while it compiles. I have a feeling what we're missing is more deploy scripts at this point. I think we are missing deploy scripts. Forking is not a fast process. I thought this was going to be 30 minutes. We're at 37 minutes so far. We're still adding missing imports. We still need to deploy. We've compiled though. It's going to try to deploy and it will probably fail. But let's see. It deployed it. It's doing the deploys. Did the verify. Submitted the verification. This is cool. I don't think it's going to be correct, but it's working. I'm missing a step on here to deploy the WoW implementation and the WoW factory implementation. So we need to deploy implementations. I believe we need to do it for WoW and for the WoW factory. We might be able to just use the WoW's existing WoW and just use the factory implementation. Let's check out the contract that it deployed. What did we deploy? We created a WoW factory. Contracts. Let's write it. Well, let's try to more options. Is this a proxy? It is a proxy. Verify it. Save it. Go back to our contract. Now we should have the option to write and read as proxy. Let's try writing as proxy. Create contract. Okay, so it looks like we just created a proxy on top of the old Zora deployment instead of on top of the WoW factory implementation. So the implementation address that we used is an implementation of the Zora factory, and we need to update it to be for the WoW factory. Let's verify that. Yeah, Zora creator factory implementation. So next step is to deploy the WoW factory implementation. We can do that by going to our deploy scripts. Dookie. Deploy WoW factory. Right now we have a factory implementation that is hard-coded. We need to update that to potentially be dynamic. That would be inside of deploy minters and implementations. This should deploy the new 1155 in factory implementation. Deploy 1155. Maybe it's in Zora deployers base. I don't like how I'm navigating this from up here. So let's open up a terminal. CD into coop. Once the terminal finished loading. CD into, oh yeah, projects. Coop. ls CD into, oh, did I never, I guess let's clone it. Git clone, we'll CD coop time sales strategy. Coop. And then from here, I'll clone this. I guess I was just modifying my Zora repo instead of cloning it as its own package. There was a lot we had to do at DevCon. We were in Bangkok. I was trying to be present at the conference. We were being told to fork Zora and get it deployed during DevCon. Now we're forking WoW. This v2 rollout there has been quite a lot of pivots, so we've been rolling with the punches, cd ... cd coop records protocol cursor / inside of this. We want to trace out our deployment of implementations. So, script, packages, deployments, script, deploy implementations, deploy new 1155 and factory implementation. Where is this coming from? Command-Shift-F. Deploy implementation. Zora base deployer. Deploy. It's going to call an internal deploy, which is then going to ensure a valid upgrade gate, and then it's going to create a new implementation, gets the contract version, and sets it. I think we can just make this way simpler than what they're doing. Let's update our existing, move this to the end for now. Let's update our existing deploy script to simply create a WoW factory implementation. WoW factory implementation is a new WoW factory implementation. And let's see what we need inside of the WoW factory implementation by opening it and then checking the constructor. Constructor needs a token implementation and a bonding curve. So let's check out our, both of those are addresses. Both of those are addresses. So we need address, token implementation, and address bonding curve. We added both of those into the WoW factory implementation. And now we can use the WoW factory implementation here. And now let's get the token implementation and the bonding curve that WoW is already using for now, just to move in the right direction. Token implementation and bonding curve. This, I believe, is the token implementation. This is WoW. So we'll copy this. WoW, this was, what's been done on this? 11 days ago at this transaction. Who's the wallet that created this? November 5th. That would have been a while ago. This wallet should be the people creating the factory. Looks like they're doing a whole lot of trading. 15 days ago. They did deploy the bonding curve, the WoW factory. So it looks like whoever this person is, they're about 16 days ahead of me on base mainnet. They deployed the bonding curve, they deployed WoW. So let's use both of what they deployed for now until we take a step back. We already know how to create the implementation. We could create a WoW. Oh, they've got 2 WoWs, but 1 bonding curve. We'll use this bonding curve. This might be the wrong direction to be going down, but I'm going to follow it for now. Bonding curve. We'll pay. This is on BaseScan, actually, so this is incorrect. How do we get this on testnet? We'll get this on testnet by going over to our demo from yesterday. Find the token, not the token address, deploy button. Should be using the factory address. And let's check out the factory on BaseScan, on Sepolia scan. We go to sepolia.basescan and search this address. This should be a WoW factory. And this should be a WoW factory proxy. Looks like it. If we read as proxy, do we have a bonding curve and a token? We have a bonding curve. Let's use this bonding curve. Bonding curve. And then we also should have a token implementation. Let's use this token implementation. And so now we're going to use existing WoW token implementation. WoW quote official. Well, we'll call it existing token implementations. set this to coop rex. I'll make this a to do. And then here we are deploying the proxy. Did we deploy the factory? Deploy wow factory implementation. These are like our hard-coded addresses, so we'll keep those. Everything below this line is new token generation. Whoops. New deployments. Now that we have this, let's try running our script again and see if it works. This time, the big difference is last time we had a proxy around a Zora deployment factory. This time we expect to be able to have a proxy around a wow factory. Wow factory implementation doesn't exist. Implicit conversion from contract to address. So wow factory is expecting an address. Wow factory and its constructor is expecting an address. That was the wrong wow factory though. It expects an address for logic. Okay. Address. Try it again. Compiling. If this works, I think we're going to be good to try a deploy. So the goal is to get to deploying a meme coin on our forked version. And so we'll get to that point because I'm sure there will be future videos, but the goal is to not have any one video be too long, because once the videos get too long, it takes me forever to edit them, and so then I never publish them. And we want to keep these iteration cycles quick, so let's get close to the end destination because we're almost at an hour. Compile is successful. If this deploys, we're going to check off the step of add missing imports to fix build errors, as well as deploying the wow factory. And then we'll use yesterday's app to do the final step of deploying and buying. Let's push all these changes and open up a PR. What's our current PR? Do we already have one that's open? We do. If I add it in the ASCII art, I'll merge this. Looks like I did. It's already been merged. Great. We're deploying our contracts. One hour to fork a protocol is not bad. This should be our factory. Contract, we'll want to label this as a proxy. Verify it. Verification was good. I'm realizing I didn't run form format, but I also didn't push these changes. We can now return to our contract. Go to the contract tab. Write as proxy. We have a deploy method now. So this step is done. Let's push and merge our changes. We're not using that. That's scary. Git status. We've got an entire broadcast folder. All that I want is the run latest, so I'm going to delete these others. Git status. Git add broadcast. Git commit -m. I add the latest deployment info on base Sepolia. Git status. Git add readme. Git commit -m. I update readme with correct deployment info. Git status. Git add src. Git commit -m. I add required contracts for wow factory deployment. Git status. Git add lib. Git commit dash m I add OpenZeppelin libs for upgradable contracts. Git status, git add script, git commit dash m I add deploy script for wow factory along with implementation. So now we've got our implementation in there too, which is great. Git status, git add foundry, git commit dash m I fix errors in stack too deep by adding via IR flag or something like that. Git status, git add remappings, git commit dash m I update remappings to match wow factory expectations. Git status, git push origin suites factory. We did not run Forge format, so we'll run Forge format, git status, git add dot, git commit dash m I fix Forge fmt, git status, git push origin suites factory. Go back to the suites factory. Let's try to create a new pull request for this. Have we pulled main? Git pull origin main, git checkout dash b suites / deploy. Git status, git checkout dash b suites / deploy, git push origin suites deploy. Why'd you check out a new branch? Because I want it to automatically show up here and I don't want to dig around for a branch that I've already merged. There it is. Create this. Let's see if the builds are passing or failing. Builds look like they're passing now that we've added in Forge format. Let's do a quick review. Anything we didn't write, we're just going to blind accept. Git modules we did, that looks good. README we did. That looks good. We should add instructions for setting the environment variables, but we're going to skip that for now. Didn't write, didn't write, didn't write. We wrote, looks correct. We wrote. Hard-coded, hard-coded, hard-coded. Actual deploys. Looks good. Didn't write, didn't write, didn't write, didn't write, didn't write, didn't write, didn't write. Didn't I see crying? Okay. Oh, didn't I see crying? Oh, I didn't write this. Okay, so everything is passed. Let's merge. Confirm the merge. Protocol has been deployed. We now have a WoW deployment. If you would like to fork WoW, instead of having to run through this whole hour, you can take this and run the script that I have, and then you can deploy your own fork. You might need to take a couple more steps back if you want your own bonding curve and WoW token implementation, but I've got you to this point. Hopefully you can use your own intelligence to keep taking more steps back. The last thing we want to do is update our WoW factory. Excuse me. Update our WoW factory address here with our run latest WoW factory implementation, WoW factory contract address. Let's verify this on base Sepolia scan. This is a WoW factory 6 minutes ago. I can already read and write as proxy. Fill in our address here, save it, open up our terminal, run pnpm dev. Let's open up localhost. I love this base login site. It's so good to start videos. Localhost, like that background, is just great for an intro. Captivates the attention. Run localhost. We check out if it's compiling. It's still compiling. Take a water break while we are loading. When things are outside of a control, take a deep breath, take a sip of water, come back to taking care of this vessel. Can eat some breakfast after this. Okay, let's try to deploy a meme coin on our new factory. Transaction opened, feeling confident. seeing a transaction. Is this D8B my factory? D8B looks like the factory that I put in. D8B. D8B, that looks correct. Let's sign this transaction. We just are hopefully creating our first meme coin on... Am I in the right wallet, or am I about to see a stuck transaction? I'm in the right wallet. Am I on the right network? I'm on the right network. Are you going to be successful? You were successful. Inside of our logs, we have a pool created, initialize with a... Here's a square root x96. I've been wondering where this value comes from. I see you. Okay. And then a WOW token was created. Let's use this WOW token to try to buy it. If we go here, we have a deploy that was executed 42 seconds ago. We go into our internal transactions. Hopefully this is our WOW. This is our WOW. Let's copy this WOW and go back into the buy button. Go into buy price, address, paste in our address. We should also have a buy button. Do the same thing. Token address. One of these is our square root 96, and we could plug in the actual value for our square root 96. Let's copy the square root 96 and try it just to see if I get a more accurate readout of everything. Deploy. Come here and we go into our logs. We've got a square root 96 somewhere. Here it is. Copy this value. And now go back into the WOW contract to see what variable it is on the buy. I'm so glad I built in public. These little moments of capturing this, someone's going to ask me how you get the square root value, and now I can send them a timestamped YouTube video that's timestamped by AI. That's exactly the moment when I realized how to get it, and I can send that to people, which allows everybody to learn this stuff way faster. Square root 96 is the last one, so we change this to that, save it. What happens now when we try to buy? We updated this inside of our buy button. Let's also update it inside of our buy price. Oh, nope, that stays the same. Buy button. I'm going to try plugging in 10 this time. Save this. Click buy. ETH amount is too small. Okay, let's go back to whatever it is. And let's just buy it. Looks like the buy transaction's opening. We're able to execute it. We're going to execute. Do we get a meme coin out of this? If this works, we're wrapping up for today. Took about 1 hour to fork the protocol. The last question I'm going to leave everybody with. Who earned the protocol fees on this token? Is it WOW in their initial configuration, or is it us in a configuration that I don't remember setting inside of this video? If WOW is still earning the protocol fees, what needs to be changed in our fork such that we can set custom protocol fee recipients and custom percentages for the protocol fees? I'll leave you on that. Thank you for tuning in. If you got any value out of this video, please click the like button or the mint button. Thank you. Have a great day. See you next time.